Baby shark.
Ah! In case you're wondering.
Hey, I'm Chris.
I'm Vicky.
And I'm Avery, and welcome to In Case You Were Wondering.
Welcome.
Woo!
Yeah, we are so excited about tonight because we get to talk about something we really love a lot, and that is
Wicked.
Wicked. And we have a really cool thing in our family. About 15 years ago, we had gone to the Pantages Theater in Hollywood, in LA, right there on the Walk of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And we had the opportunity to go and watch Wicked live with the original cast, with Kristin Chenoweth and Idina Menzel. And at the time, I wasn't a huge Wizard of Oz fan, and I really didn't know who Kristin Chenoweth or Idina Menzel was. Felt really, really bad about that.
Yeah.
And yet, absolutely fell in love with it. And you guys were both really, really young. And yet I remember the impact that going and watching that production had on you, even when you were little. 15 years later, we finally get a chance to go and watch the movie. And saw it just last night. And so, Vicky, how did you feel about it?
I really liked it. I think that, the movie played around with, shots and transitions. And I really did think that it was if musicals had the ability to change sceneries like it did and have that, access to movie magic, that, they did a really good job keeping to the original material, as well as, I believe, kind of adding stuff from the book just a little bit. And
I agree. I think there was some depth to it, that it wasn't just the surface level story that we got from the musical, but there was some backstory, especially the relationship between Elphaba and her father, for example. I thought that was, they took that to a different place. They made some other changes, I think, to the story that I think were very interesting. For example, in the movie, we get cameos by the original actresses Idina Menzel and Kristin Chenoweth in the movie.
Yeah.
Not playing their previous characters, which was really cool.
Amber,
Yeah.
what do you
ahead.
like about the movie?
Well, I kind of was I kind of just went in and I kind of knew from what everybody was saying online that it was good. So I was please let the hype be true.
And I'm with you on that too. How often is it that you hear hype or you get excited about something, and then you go and you watch it and it does not live up to that at all?
Yeah.
However, I will say that pretty much across the board, everyone that I had spoken to, even the really critical, harsh people, had only positive things to say. And after seeing it, I absolutely know why. I think for me, it was a really high bar. Was it going to live up to the expectation that I had for Wicked and the live production? And while I still think live production is better, pretty darn close. That's what I will say. What are characters specifically that kind of stand out to you that you guys had really enjoyed?
I really liked what they did with Elphaba's character, especially since she was able to have those comedic lines and everything like that, said in a different way. Ariana Grande brought Glinda to a different level, I think. I think the same way with Cynthia Avaro.
See, I think that Ariana Grande, though she's probably one of the most recognizable names in the cast here, I think that there were some people that really had doubts about whether she could pull off the character of Glinda.
I'm not shocked.
No, I think if you've watched Victorious...
Yeah, Nickelodeon, if you grew up with those type of shows, you definitely know.
And Cynthia Avaro is known for being one of the characters in the Harriet Tubman movies, which I know her from.
I really, really, really liked what Cynthia Erivo brought to the character. I thought a real intelligence, a real thoughtfulness, a real depth, right? And I think that her being a person of color, playing the character of Elphaba, who is green, I think it allowed them to lean a little bit harder into the racial politics of the story.
Yeah.
And I think that was it was intentional, and I thought it was done really well.
Yes.
I really love that. Plus, I think that Cynthia Erivo brought, I loved the little nuances that she added to the vocals.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of a soulful edge. She didn't sing things straight.
Yeah.
And so she took some slight liberties, but I think that she made it her own without changing it so much that it became unrecognizable.
And I love what, Ariana Grande did with the Glinda character. I think that, like, a lot of people, when they think of Wicked, they think of Defying Gravity and they think of Popular. And I think they both did an amazing job at that song, because I think we always try to sing it, or us singers out there, we always try to sound perfect with it, right? We always try to sound exactly like the original sometimes, and they did not shy away from making it their own. And
I think that for me, that had been part of the challenge was, am I going to accept Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo as Glinda and Elphaba? And you know what? I absolutely did.
Their voices mix very well naturally, to the point where I was like, yeah, if this was a live production of this, of it, I'd still be feeling great about watching it.
Yeah.
Like, they are both amazing singers.
Both of them, because they put their own twist to it, and I think it's kind of cool that they both did like a form of a vocal run kind of thing, in their own ways, that actually did a really nice parallel to each other. It wasn't like it's just like one octave or like this, because both of them did it's more of like
a run.
Like a run.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool, especially for, like, they added stuff that they were like, well, because this is on camera, we could do this now. Hi. The funny part is that when we were in the theater, both me and Dad looked at each other when we saw them doing the dance on the books, and I'm like, no, not the book covers.
Of these. Oh.
I'm like,
So
no.
I will say that in general, I really am a fan of the cinematic version. My only, if I have to nitpick things that I did not like, I had a hard time with the choreography. I thought it was just a bit too much. And I realized saying a musical was a bit too much. Musicals are known for being over the top. And this one, I think they just went a little further, I think, than was necessary. Still thought it was great, but a bit too much. And that scene where they're in the library and Fiyero's trying to prove how much he's careless, and they're literally dancing on the books in the library, that was triggering for me.
I wonder,
a
why
little
is
bit.
the librarian not mad at him for stepping on books?
Because
She got flirted with
Yeah.
the prince. And that part, like, okay, sorry. Spoiler. But, like, when he grabbed her face and they got, like, super close, I'm like,
That's a little...
if they kiss, I'm gone.
Yeah. But I think that Glinda, with her popularity, she had always gotten whatever she wanted. And the same thing with Fiyero. He's a prince.
Yeah.
And there wasn't anybody that he couldn't charm except for Elphaba, right? And I think that, again, I like what they did with it. I think that the way that it was shot was beautiful. The angles were great. Even just the scope of it was huge. I think that was really, really good. So others, standouts that I got to give credit to, Michelle Yeoh. I don't think I've ever heard her sing. And I think that we see such range from her as an actress.
Yeah. Because wasn't she in that one series,
She was in Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah, I was trying to remember
which
what it was
is
called.
brilliant and fantastic.
It was
and
good.
I love it. And she was originally, I think, in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I think that was one of those movies that I think
She is a very,
so
very,
good.
very talented.
And so her playing the character Madame Morrible, I really like what she brought to it. I really loved it. The other character that I think maybe we had not thought about was Jeff Goldblum playing the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I think that we always kind of see him in a very jokey character and always kind of the good guy-ish. And if you don't know the story of Wizard of Oz or anything like that, spoiler alert, he ends up being kind of a con.
Not kind of, he is a con.
He is a con.
Yeah.
He just ends up trying to use Elphaba for her powers in order to spy on Emerald City and gain more power. And seeing Jeff Goldblum in a role like that, where he still has his goofiness, but he is basically the villain, or is the villain of the story, it is a really defining part of the show.
I think one of the major appeals for me with the story of Wicked is the idea that it really turns the whole story that we've known from The Wizard of Oz on its head. We've always believed that Glinda is the good witch, Elphaba is the wicked witch, and that the Wizard of Oz is the hero. And what Wicked does is it turns it all upside down. We understand, number one, that Elphaba has not been painted in a positive light, and that who she becomes is definitely a result of how she was treated, and that who we had thought were good people, like Madame Morrible and the Wizard of Oz and Glinda, that they were really manipulators, and that they were not good at all, and that Elphaba really is the hero of the story. Enough so that at the very end, when she has her big defying gravity moment, she's flying around like Superman. And I'm not kidding. I really got classic Superman vibes. Pretty sweet moment as she's zooming around. If they had painted a big giant S on her chest, I would not have been shocked.
But it's also that in that scene, like, you could tell that, like, she has this huge, powerful scene, but you could still see the tears in her eyes. You could still see everything like that. And I think it makes, when you are watching it on Broadway or when you're watching it on a screen, you know, I watch a lot of my musical stuff from, like, bootleg kind of recorded thing. So you see, you end up losing a lot of that emotion. That's why a lot of characters have to act like really big, because you lose it. Sometimes because they're so far away, because the characters are literally right in front of your face. You are seeing how much, you know, a certain thing affects Elphaba. You're seeing how, you know, Glinda is sad when, you know, the prince is not giving her attention, or, you know, is kind of ignoring her. You see the heartbreak. You see how her father is treating her. Every emotion is amplified by like 100. I want to really know how you feel about it from like a film standpoint. Like, I know that you love musicals. Well, not as much as I do, but like you like musicals and you also like films. So how do you feel about how they kind of went from, you know, the stage to the screen?
That's a good question.
I think that they did a really good job in doing the paralleling of doing the stage production to the film aspects, especially like the angles and showing like, oh, hey, I could actually do this. I could do these choreographies, you know, because of it being on screen. You don't have to do the turn the stage left, not my left, your left. And then it's like you have to think of, it takes a lot of setting the room where they're gonna do the scene, make sure that all the cameras are on, make sure all the angles are correct, because of there's like certain type of shapes you have to do if it's like triangular. I'm not like fully sure what type they're using,
right?
Because I normally just see the it's like a cross section.
So I know that while I was like, it was during the opening scenes, they were doing these really long wide pan shots of the landscape. They were trying to show us just how expansive it is. But really, I was getting like serious Zack Snyder, Peter Jackson vibes.
Yeah,
kind of like
a little bit.
that style. They were really trying to show how beautiful the landscape was, and they were taking some real liberties as to how they were filming it. I will say this, and I know this is probably controversial. I kind of like the fact that when it's put on a stage, like at the Pantages or on Broadway, that they're limited. They're limited as far as space, they're limited by technology, and that because you have to then like learn to operate within those limits, there is a special kind of magic that happens on stage right, that they capture. And I don't know quite how to put my finger on it.
Well, a lot of it's you have really good stage directors, you have good lighting crew, and a lot of especially for Wicked, they have like people on wires. You have all of these things that are normally set on the stage before even the cast is on there. So that all they have to do is like throw on something, go on stage, and they're able to perform the routine in a manner that you could do in a smaller space. While when it's for a film, like they use similar things, but then normally it's in a controlled setting, in that they pretty much could go any direction depending on what set they're on.
Yeah.
No one is at risk of falling off the stage on a film. In a film.
Well, that, or if you make a mistake, you can always do it over again.
Yeah.
Whereas when it's live, whatever happens on stage, the audience is going to catch and see. And so,
oh, sorry.
Yeah.
If I could put it out there, I think if I'm right, then like this is, really cool. I thought I read or heard an interview from them saying that they tried to make it as much of a one shot as possible, and that they tried to use little CGI, or not CGI, just
there was quite a bit of
stuff.
CGI.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of CGI, but they were trying to use the least amount of auto-tune, use natural voices, and also film it all at once in one shot, in one take, because they wanted to still bring that Broadway experience to the screen.
Yeah.
And also because Cynthia and Ariana both have Broadway experience. I think they're really good people to do that because they both have experience in the theater and what it's like and know the material very much.
Yeah. This was certainly a moment that made both Ariana and Cynthia shine, and I think that was obvious in this. Again, I had a super high bar for Wicked going into this, and frankly, sometimes I prepare myself to be disappointed.
Yeah.
And you know what? I left and I was really, really happy with it. And I've been telling everybody that I've seen today, I'm like, if you haven't seen it yet, you need to go watch it. I was super duper happy. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, what are you waiting for? You really need to go ahead and watch Wicked. It's definitely worth the price of admission.
Also, before we end this episode, I wanted to say we have a new Facebook and Instagram that
yes,
you join.
we do.
And we set that up
a couple days ago.
Well,
yesterday.
Depending on when you guys
Yesterday.
are watching it, just join it. It's fun.
Yeah.
We're gonna probably post pictures of recordings of before afters to bloopers and or if there's something you guys want to see us do, like another snack one that we just posted a few days ago.
That one was fun and interesting and a little bit disgusting.
Yeah.
All wrapped up into one.
I think that it was pretty cool. I want to do another one.
We've
Maybe Italy,
certainly
maybe
have gotten a
Iceland.
lot of comments on that one.
Yeah.
So that is awesome. Hey guys, we want to thank you for joining us here for our discussion about Wicked. Were you a fan? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Make sure you leave us a comment. Oh, also, thank you for the 117 subscribers.
Woo!
And hey, we'd love for you to be 118 if you haven't subscribed already. Because what are you waiting for? We're going to keep the content train chugging along the track. So make sure you guys come and join us. Hey, as always, I'm Chris.
I'm Vicky.
And I'm Amber, and thank you again.
Yes, thank you guys.
Woo!
Adios.
Bye.
Bye.